folks. It's 28.5 degrees according to Rosie, and it feels like it. I've got my luxuriant air conditioning on, which is now, it's getting down to about 21. It's only been running a little while, but it's bloody lovely. Just a little midweek catch up because it's Wednesday today, so I'll post this tonight. So this will be on the YouTube's Wednesday night at some point. If not, first thing Thursday morning. And you see, the nibbler's pretty much back together, ready for an MOT. I've kept most of the bodywork off, the main fairing's back on, but well, the top. But I thought while it's the bodywork off, I've got the little oil seal that goes at the balance shaft. There's at the side of the engine, there's what looks like another gear shaft coming out on the other side, and that's the balance shaft, and it's got like this, looks like an elaborate locking mechanism that bolts to it, so I fucking hope it doesn't move. I'm going to mark it with paint and all this lot, just so it basically goes back where it should in case it does move. But I've got a tiny little oil seal where when I was commuting on Nibbler, nice coloured Porsche, like a teal, and you may come across your delicious car. Oh, it was a lady. She gave me the thumbs up. I bet she's used to putting thumbs up as well. I don't know what you're looking at, you footwear. She's got to give way, cunt. Anyway, more motoring advice. So yes, I've got this little seal, and it's just like a gear shaft oil seal. It's probably the same one. It was like £5. But I did notice I had a little oil leak when I was commuting, and I thought I got all the oil leaks, so it's most disconcerting. I thought it was the oil cooler lines because they don't look their best. They're functioning all right, but they don't look their best. So I did actually get a delete kit, or you can just put a loop in, just put a blank loop, sump to sump sort of thing. You can just get rid of it. We don't need it in this country, even though yes, it's 28 degrees. Generally we don't need oil coolers on a water-cooled bike. Japanese imports will have an oil cooler, like little 400cc's. All my grey imports, all the 400s, all had oil coolers, and the UK bikes didn't. But Japan summers, and you know, in the Far East, get a lot hotter than this, so that's why they have them. So yes, I'm going to be doing the oil seal, and yes, I will film it, because it's either going to go very well, or it'll be up to my usual standards. Or is that down to my usual standards? So yes, I shall do that. It should be a simple case of, I'm going to look back at this and I'm going to curse, removing the locking mechanism, whatever it is, the external mechanism, and then that will just leave what looks like a gear shaft bare, and then you can pick the seal out with a seal pick. Just literally just jam the hook in and pop it out. Might get a little bit of weepage. Do it on the centre stand. It's high enough in the engine that it shouldn't need the oil draining. It shouldn't. But we'll know when we take it out, won't we? So yes, do that. Then all you do, just get an appropriate size socket and press the new seal in. Just tap, tappity tap tap. Gentle love taps. Do that, put the locking mechanism back on, and it should be good. Should be good. But there is news in the ZX10 department. Oh yes, I spoke to a good mate of mine. I've not stopped to speak to him for a while because I haven't seen him. And a lot of the bikes I've had over the years, well, at least probably 5 have come from this bloke, who's originally bought them for himself, did all the mechanicals, the Goldwing I had off him, CBR 750 I had off him, VT 500 I had off him, I think once I had a C90 off him, all sorts. And he's one of these guys where we'll go, come and have a look, see what I've got in my yard, and it's fatal. Because I'll go there and I'll go, I don't like that. I did this with the Goldwing. I had a beautiful VMAX at the time, slightly scabby around the edges as I like them, but it was a lovely bike, and the VMAX was rare even then. And he had a GL 1200, and I did do some filming and stuff with the GL, but I didn't do YouTube then. And a great bike, but I'd owned it a few years and thought it's time for a change now. And it's probably recently the bike I've regretted getting rid of, because they're heavy. That's the only downside with the Goldwing. They're heavy, they're bloody hot in this weather, even though they've got air vents that you can turn on and off in the fairing and all this lot. And they're a bloody hot bike in this weather. If you know, because of the screen and everything, you really don't get any airflow, and that's what they're designed to do. They're designed to keep the weather off you. The trouble is, this weather they work a bit too well. But yeah, the bike was great. It was just unwieldy. I mean, times me and the good lady, we've been out on the Goldwing, and we've parked it up somewhere, and I've just parked in like just slightly the wrong spot, just slightly facing downhill or something like that. I mean, literally slightly, and I couldn't get it out of the parking space on my own. Couldn't paddle it out, couldn't get off the bike and push it out. And times we've been somewhere and she's had to push the bike from the front so we can get out. It must have looked hilarious. Of course, the later GL15s and stuff had a reverse gear, which sort of negated such a thing, but yeah, the GL12 didn't have that. So anyway, I had the Goldwing off him. I had a CBR 750 off him, which once I'd hacked the terrible data tool alarm off it, never went wrong. And I had that 8 years, never put a foot wrong. But it was a typical sort of Honda CBR. It's that good at what it does. It's dull. Literally no vices. And this is how CBRs have been from the very first ones. It's how the VFRs have been. They have pretty much no vices. Not as a normal road rider you'd worry about. The last VFR 750 I rode was my cousin's, and it was about the 3rd gen one. The one that's supposed to look like an NR 750, you know, they put the little knacker duct on the fairing and all that lot. And I went round it. I just literally went, I say round the block, I did about a 6-mile block. And I got off it and I was left utterly cold. It had no character at all. You know, decent sounding engine and what have you, and they're great bikes. I wouldn't knock anybody that had one. But it just, there was something about it that just, it's like meeting someone called Janet who only wears beige cardigans. It's just, there was no character about it. There was nothing about it that you'd think, I'm going to have to be careful here, it's going to bite. And I quite like that in a bike. I do quite like that. But on that note, nibbler may be going, because I think I'm downsizing. I don't need a 1000cc bike. I don't need a bike as physically big as that, even though by a lot of standards they're not big bikes anymore physically. I mean, I saw a ZR 1100 the other day and wondered how the hell I thought it was so huge, because it wasn't. Not compared to some of the ginormous monstrosities that came after it. The uglier monstrosities, I should say. So yeah, I don't know, but there might be a last of the carbureted CBR 600s on the card. Might. Don't know yet. I've not seen the bike. I don't know what kind of deal it is. Until I know, I can't say really, but I've never ever ridden, even though I've just slagged them off a bit boring, I've never ridden a bad CBR, because they will do everything. The CBR 750 not so much. That was sort of a very niche model. It was actually designed to test the Fireblade engine. The Fireblade was going to be a 750 gear driven cam, all this lot to, you know, match the ZXRs and the YZRs and stuff like that were out at the time. And then of course Kawasaki dropped a bombshell and bought the ZX9R out, and then Honda thought, shit. So that then became a 900. So as far as I know, that 750 engine was only ever used in the CBR 750, and it was an alright engine. Wouldn't set the world on fire because it's a limited Japanese model. But there you go. I'm waiting at traffic lights now on the Hinkley Island, and you usually get some cunt trying to cut you up as you go across. And we just had two people go through a red light there because that's just how they drive around here. Right, you're coming in then. Cap wearing tit in your McGann. Who went through a red fucking light, you wanker. So this is basically why they don't let me out on the road. Cunt, you wanker, fucking bellend. And that's before I've got out the drive at work. But traffic's got way worse since I started this job, way worse. And people's driving standards have just got fucking a bit, yeah, well done. Cyclist suddenly deciding to use the fucking cycle path because he's got a truck behind him. There's a cycle path that's 3 or 4 miles long here, and not one little cunt uses it. You know, it's there for your safety. If you were riding a push bike, would you sooner ride on the road, on a main road, a 50-mile-an-hour road where you've got Arctics constantly around you, or would you sooner use the cycle path, which is set separate from the road for your safety, put in at the cost of millions of other people's fucking money for your convenience? Just my little rant. But it bores my piss. The cyclist was actually knocked off down here the other day. I don't know what happened to him, but it didn't look pretty. A truck hit him. Fucking cycle lane 3 feet away. So obviously wasn't fucking using it. And that bores my piss. That's one of approximately 8,496 things on the way to work that bores my piss. There you go. Anyway, off topic. So yes, that's the nibbler news. I've got the seal. I've had the seal a little while, but I wasn't going to tackle it till I'd done the fork seals. The fork seals are now done, in, wheels bolted in. I've effected a crap repair on the front mudguard because that's just fucking split in two again. I might just have to bite the bullet and get a new one, but I don't want to. I really don't want to. I'm now at the point where I know I don't get on with the bike. It's not that I don't get on with riding it or anything, it's a perfectly fine ride, and it's exactly as I remember the old ZZRs and stuff like that, pretty much exact. But literally, I mean, you know, if you ride a ZX10 or anything similar like that, as soon as you're out of a junction you're doing 80 before you know it, and you've not even tried. You've not even tried. I mean, if you rode that like you did a 125 wringing its neck out, you'd be doing 160 everywhere. And I've spoke to quite a few people with big bikes who have since, you know, downsized, or they've got rid of the sports bike and just got, you know, like a normal little naked commuter or something like that, or a sports tourer or whatever. They notice exactly the same thing. Literally as soon as they're in the saddle they're doing 80 to 90 miles an hour and they haven't got a clue. Just one of them things. Anyway, I'm going to go now because I'm nearly at work.